What's up guys, MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and welcome to the Tekken 8 Intermediate Guide, where we look a little bit closer at the battle mechanics of the game. This is a great video for those of you who are returning Tekken players, but also those of you who are new and want to know more about the game. I'll be your coach today. Mastering heat plays a large part in mastering Tekken 8. So let's do an in-depth look at heat with its many possibilities. In the beginner video, we talked about the heat burst and the heat engager, respectively, the two options you have of activating heat. Let's look at their strengths and weaknesses. Heat engager is by far the most rewarding option, but it's also because it involves actually landing a hit on your opponent, which can be hard. Heat burst can be activated at any point in time by simply hitting your R1 trigger. After a successful heat engager, your opponent will be scrambling to get back to their feet at a massive disadvantage. So basically, it's your turn again, and you have a full bar of heat to work with. To top it all off, you can even regain some health landing a heat engager. Notice how the health bar glows green and some of that grayed out health recovers. Now that we know how powerful heat engagers are, it's well worth taking the time looking at your move list, your character, what are my heat engager options, and how do I make the most out of them. But landing a heat engager can be tricky, so that's why it's so good that we can manually enter the heat state by doing a heat burst, pressing R1. The heat burst also has a power crush property, which means it will absorb your opponent's mid and high attacks. This is great to break their momentum. Heat burst can also be used to extend combos. A drawback to heat burst is that you don't get a full bar of heat, so you have less time in your powered up state. And you are going to want to make the most of that powered up state. Kazuya, for example, in heat turns into Devil Kazuya, and it greatly enhances many of his attacks and gives him new attacks to boot. The already powerful Devil Fist now converts into lasers on hit. Heaven's Gate is now a factor, and the powerful Devil's Roar is a strong reversal. Your character changes significantly going into heat mode, and they grow much stronger. So really here, you have to master your character in their normal state, but also in heat mode, getting the most out of that limited time. You also have access to two very powerful aggressive options when you're in heat, the heat dash and the heat smash. Note though that using either of these will end heat preemptively. Heat smash is performed by pressing R1 yet again while in heat mode. It's a very powerful attack with strong properties. All characters have their unique heat smash. Heat dash is performed by doing a heat engager style attack while you are in heat mode. Hold forward while doing so, and on hit, this will convert into a combo, but even on block, you will have a great advantage on your opponent. So now, I hope you know a little bit more about your options with the heat system, and do remember you only get to use it once per round, so make it count. With a new game, we get new characters to either play or play against. Let's do an overview of the Tekken 8 newcomers. Reina, the cocky and feisty newcomer, has a very unique approach that blends the Mishima-style fighting with a multitude of stances and combination attacks. So not only do you have to worry about classic Mishima mix-ups, but also the signature Electric Wind Godfist. When we factor in the multitude of stances and the sheer amounts of attacks at her disposal, it's clear that Reina has the capacity to overwhelm even the best players' defenses. Azucena, however, builds incredible momentum and pressure from any distance. Her attacks and combinations are very tricky for the opponent to deal with, and she's also uniquely evasive. Doing an attack at the wrong time against Azucena can have devastating consequences. In general, she's very good at punishing her opponent's mistakes. Victor Chevalier, however, brings a gun, a sword, a knife, he teleports, needless to say, very different. The sword gives him great range, And the teleport and his strong counter utility makes it very risky to ever try and attack Victor. Victor's moveset is also very explosive and very hard to read, so it's going to be a character that's very hard to pin down for the opponent. All of our favorite characters have also changed a lot going from previous Tekken games to Tekken 8, offering a fresh new approach. With every new installment of a game, all the characters get new attacks, and a lot of attacks are updated. And Tekken 8 has gone further in this regard than any game before it. All the characters have a plethora of new attacks, and this opens up a lot of new creative ways of using them. So if I, for example, feel like I mastered Paul in Tekken 7, that skill is going to translate into Tekken 8, but Tekken 8 Paul is going to have so much more to offer. So to get a deeper understanding of your character, it's really good to consult the move list, and especially the main technique section is really good at pointing out key attacks and explain how to use them and why. It's a great idea to take a look at every move individually and see what it does on normal hit, what it does on counter hit, and this can tell us a lot about the utility of a certain attack. And as mentioned before, we need to know what our character does in heat mode. That's unique to every character, and this you find in the all techniques section of the move list. It's pointed out at the top. So here with Kazuya, for example, we see that Kazuya gets access to the Devil's Power, and with that new attacks, but it can also do the Electric Wind God Fist without a perfect input. So the reality of Tekken 8 is that no matter who you play, be that a newcomer or a legacy character, there's so much to discover. All Tekken characters play in their own unique way. They all have their individual strengths as well as weaknesses. To grow as a player, we want to play towards our character's strengths. A great example of a character-defining strength is Kazuya's ground game. Anytime he knocks you down with an attack, he can threaten you with the unique Devil Steel Pedal to force you off the ground and take another one of his mix-ups. If you learn to place this attack well and combine it with Kazuya's super threatening mid-low mix-up, you can create a situation where your opponent struggles to ever get back on their feet again after a successful knockdown. Hwoarang, on the other hand, is very happy leaving his opponent standing. In fact, he thrives in this situation. So with Hwoarang, we want to learn about ways on going in on our opponent while they're standing and then maximizing our pressure with the flamingo stance. Key here is leaving our opponent no time to breathe whatsoever and maximizing stress on their defense. King, however, as you probably know, is all about throws and grappling. King's throws do enormous damage and they're very hard to break, so toughen your opponent's defenses. Mix throws with different throw breaks for maximum effect. Another scary aspect to King's throws is that anytime he lands a throw on you, that damage stays. It's permanent. Remember how we talked about recoverable health before in the heat section, that gray health that you will have there anytime someone has landed a combo on you from a combo starter? No such thing with King's throws. King has a gigantic arsenal of throws. He has throws for any situation that could arise. It's up to you, if you want to master King, to master the application of these throws. So these were examples of core strengths of a few of the characters in the Tekken 8 roster, and discovering and understanding your character's strength will come with time as you progress in skill with the game. But do rest assured that playing towards your character's main strengths as much as you can is going to make your life so much easier and your fights so much more efficient. And that's it for the Tekken 8 Intermediate Guide. I've been your coach today, TheMainManSWE, and I certainly hope that was helpful for you in your journey with Tekken 8. Take care.